Again, good day. Bob Purdon again. As far as the professional sales management structure, we've been talking about defining it, creating it. And the question is, how do we get there? How do we get to have a great, top-rated product specialist team? That's what really counts. That's what makes the dealerships so unique, so strong, and separates ourselves from the competition, believe me. So the question is, now that we've discussed these different variables, is how do we get there? The number one reason would be a structured sales department. That's correct. Structured. Not a loose end where people do their own thing, but structured. It should begin with a morning sales training meeting for whoever is there. The subject should be whatever is appropriate within our process. We could take examples of good things that happened yesterday, some examples of things that didn't go right. But is the training session going to be constructive? And that's what counts, so that somebody learns something. And the key is structured, that they know we're going to open the day up this way, and we're going to continue to search for certain things. That's what counts. The number one theme will be consistency. We want to go down the same road each day. We want to get better at presenting the process, get better at covering any issues that we may have. That's what counts. As long as we're talking about selecting automobiles, that's what the theme is under these conditions. There are other administrative functions that we will carry out later, but right now we're talking about the theme of developing a top-level product specialist team that is focused on selection of an automobile. So consistency is what really makes the difference. Willingness by management to influence or make the product specialist follow the process, whether they want to or not at a given moment. So is there a breakdown in the process that is avoidable? And we want to make sure that they understand that those days are over. We want to make sure that we cover these areas. So where are the areas that we can gain on? That's what really makes a difference. And anytime that anybody on the product specialist group has an issue, then we should understand that the manager is a shelter from the selling storm, not the height of the storm. So anytime that you need help with anything, make sure that you call on management through the desk, because the sales desk is the key position to identify that, and then we'll do whatever we can to make sure that we assist you in those areas of concern. Leadership. It's something that makes everybody's function a lot easier when they know there's strong leadership in the sense of focus. That's what they want. People want consistency. They want to know what they can, what they can't do, what they should do, what they shouldn't do. It's when there is no leadership or no consistency that really creates a lot of unnecessary frustration, and particularly a lot of lost business. Why are we telling, or what are we telling, or showing the sales associates they don't have to do? It's natural for people to look for a opening in responsibilities, a change, a inconsistent approach. Can someone help me bend the rules? So when they see me as a manager not following the process the way I should, not supporting it, and saying, well, okay, we'll cover that next time, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that link that they can break through, because it's easier sometimes not to do something than to actually do it. So we want to make sure that they understand what we're doing, and we're supporting the complete effort, not part of it. It's just natural that some of our product specialists are always looking for the manager who will take the path of least resistance under certain conditions. and particularly with the non-buyer, the quote tire kicker. That's what we have to watch for, is somebody searching us out. And you can believe they're going to test the desk. So every time they go into that desk office to review a situation, they're going to try to pitch something. Certain, not everybody, but certain product specialists will try to pitch it, testing the resilience, the determination of the management team, and that's where they tend to do it, is that desk office. So we want to make sure that we're supporting each other. That's what really makes the difference here. Making exceptions will erode any process. That's a fact, and we all know it, and we've all experienced it. And it will erode it faster. So once there's a breakdown, everybody will rush through it who wants to take advantage of that exception. A fellow manager's policy decision should always be reinforced when questioned by a product specialist. So if a manager says something policy-wise and says that's the way it's going to be, and they want to come over to the other manager and find out if that's the way it really has to be, and the manager doesn't back up the first manager, that's a major breakdown in the structure. So managers are a team. They're a very strong team if they stick together on policy and procedure. That's the difference. Even though I didn't agree with the manager who carried out the policy decision, he and I can talk about that later, but as far as that product specialist, what the manager said is what goes, whether I like it or not. That's what the manager said. That's what we're going to work with. Back up. Managers can discuss later, but not in front of a product specialist. They should know that we're coming from a unified approach. The retail environment in the automotive world is driven by a desire or a need to deliver as many vehicles as possible, period. And the key to that is how many selections are made. That's what really initiates that. Within this environment, there are many distractions that draw the attention of management, obviously. There are reactionary distractions, ones we don't look for. Unhappy customers, paperwork, personal issues, inventory ordering, display issues, service issues, banking, financing issues, warranty issues, housekeeping issues, advertising issues, scheduling coverage, closing the deal, TOs, meetings, etc. All of that activity should be kept away from the desk office. The desk office is the consistent driver of the process. And if this stuff flows into that desk office and becomes another management office, administrative office, we lose the whole potential of getting the whole process moving in the right direction. Within this environment, always the number one priority is to deliver the car that was sold. Because the ultimate measuring stick in job security is how many were delivered, period. What creates the natural volume potential of a dealership? We have natural volume. It's the location, population, brand inventory, advertising, staff size, facilities, and parking. These are this is the variable structures that produce a natural volume. You have two types of customers, natural buyers and the other ones, the lookers. A natural buyer will put everybody to sleep when it comes to the non-buyer, because I was one of them. I'd walk in, regardless of my training experience, to the local dealership, look for an automobile, lead the interview by saying, what do you have? Could I take a ride in it? So I lead them through the process. And if I like the process, if I like the vehicle, and the salesperson was a nice person, then I go ahead and buy it if I could. That's what I do. But I was a natural buyer. So anybody who has a dealership will sell cars in the area that they're in, that they have an influence in, because they have the natural. I didn't want to shop. I want to go get the job done and leave. So that's the easy natural buyer. But most are not that way. So if somebody believes they finally reached the golden moment in the automobile business, they will be making an error, because that is a natural sale. No problem. They work with us, they lead us to the deal, and it's done. So we accept that as natural level of business. All those things work very well to keep the momentum going at a certain level. This is the stage that determines the natural level of volume. Now, but what takes a dealership above its natural level of performance and gets those extra sales? Well, first of all, doing a better job with the actual traffic we have. Effective coaching in the specific area of assisting the customer in reaching their goals that motivated them to approach the dealership. A professional, positive customer experience. An interview that exceeds their expectations. They didn't plan to meet a positive person always. Mrs. Jones did not expect to have us take her through the complete process, including numbers. She didn't receive that treatment. This doesn't happen. I've mentioned all the dealerships that I've shopped. It just didn't happen. Women are ignored, which is a shame because they're the actual buyers. So the fact is they get a good impression first impression when they walk in. And as long as that impression is positive, we have a chance to close them later. Most dealerships cannot effectively attain this goal because of the negative influence between the perception of the customers towards the dealership and the negative perception of the dealership management and sales personnel towards many customers who they generally categorize as tire kickers. So if my management team is telling me that these non-buyers are a waste of time and let's just handle them and get them out as quickly as possible, I'm going to think that way. With this negative dynamic, most vehicles are purchased under mental duress. Why should there be mental duress? They're not going to buy the first time, most of them, so let's treat them all right, and we'll get our natural first-time buyers, we know that, but we're going to get the returning customers that really put us over the top. So working in this environment creates a confrontational negative subculture in most automobile sales when it's not operating that way. So it should be an open book. We're going to give everybody the full treatment. We have no exceptions as far as we're concerned. So whether it be one member of the family or all the members of the family, shopping, look, it makes no difference. We're going to take the customers down the process of allowing them to really identify what we're about. And we have nothing to hide. That's the difference. Attending a dynamic, positive sales training session, although stimulating to many at the time, ultimately becomes eroded as the participant re-enters the real world of their home dealership environment. I understand there are many training sessions that are offered. Have your people come too, or have the person come too. But what does it do for an individual to go to a training session and then pick up whatever they're picking up and then come back to an environment that does not support that training session? You have to have the group involved in the process. One person going somewhere and then coming back is going to be repositioned, if you will, and eroded because they're entering the world of their home dealership. Dealer A has some distinct advantages over the competition to support a formal coaching agenda. Greeters, who you've heard us mention, giving us a fairly accurate traffic count. Nothing's perfect. But it's amazing. Every time that I was exposed to a greeter going into a place for the first time, they were all surprised at the traffic they had. Traffic meaning buyers, non-buyers, lookers. That's traffic. And when that traffic count appears to be developed, it really gives us an opportunity to start chipping away and doing what we can to improve our business. Most dealerships think they need more traffic. The fact is they probably don't. They need to handle the traffic properly that they are getting. Greeters, knowledge that most customers don't buy the first time, accepting that fact, and then working to improve the returning conditions. If I handle people properly, I'll sell more people first time than I normally would. But I will be developing more B-backs. And it's the combination of first time and B-backs that makes the difference. Reports that identify performance. I can know anybody personally, but is that really what it's about? This professional in Virginia, he was telling me how he was embarrassed really to even talk to me about this, but he said he's way off his projection. And I said, what are you doing? And he said, well, I'm sending out letters and notes and doing all this stuff, but I just can't make it click. And I said, why is that? He said, I don't know. So he didn't know how many customers he documented. He didn't know how many people that he had demonstrated. He didn't know how many people he had selected. He didn't know how many people he had given prices to. He didn't know. So what was his very difficult position? He was relying on fate, I guess, to get him where he wanted to go, because if he had identified his performance, we could have pinpointed exactly where he could have turned his game around, but we had nothing on record. The key is to really understand what, as a product specialist, I'm good at and what needs to be improved. I have to have a performance record of customers, selections, demos, offers, prices. I need a report. If I don't have that report, I can't see where the slippage is. It makes a big difference. So this fellow was dealing as let's say a cook, and he had filled a pot and put it on the stove with water. But what was he doing? The pot was leaking, and all he was doing by calling more customers, he was actually adding more water to the pot, but the leak was still there. So that's what we have to avoid, okay? Where is the slippage so that I can block that, correct it, turn it around, and get me back on the track I want to be on? A CRM to identify and maintain contact with customers. Management supervisory structure that allows ability to coach, responsible for only 2 or 3 product specialists each. Keep it management. Keep the people with me. So don't throw too much at anybody is the difference. So this is the opportunity we have. It is a formal position. Sales management is formal. It's not a casual, it's formal. And the administrative functions are there anyway. It's the coaching that really makes the difference. Why coaching doesn't work? I'm too busy. Can't schedule it. It's just too difficult. They won't listen to me. I can't change some people. The subtle but real reason could be the management doesn't believe it's important or think it will make a difference. That is probably the real reason. Because there are so many moving parts, I can't correct enough anyway. Conduct individual coaching role-playing on a specific daily schedule is the key. Each supervisor must determine when to meet with his or her people. Example subjects: greeting, Bill of Rights qualifiers, safety feature, all of these, iPad use, demo, vehicle selection, service, overcoming objections. All of these items, okay? Any one of these could be a subject that is worthy to discuss and work with a product specialist to understand where there are areas of confusion or negative, whatever it is, and so that we can identify and correct it. These subjects cannot be effectively taught or learned using general terms at a morning meeting. They have to eventually come down to the individual. I believe that the key will be in the attention to detail on an individual level. Each person has its own strengths and weaknesses that we've mentioned. After 2 months of focused attention, we would see a dramatic improvement both in the individual performance, competence, or effectiveness of our product specialist and his management team. The natural byproduct will be a general and consistent improvement of gross profit because everyone will feel more confident in the positive impact on our customers. And as I mentioned, I would appreciate the opportunity to assist developing the training structure and to participate with managers of the actual coaching. Why are we reviewing the product specialist numbers? To identify their strengths, to identify opportunities for gain, to develop a game plan, to achieve more process and more deliveries. Refer to the product specialist monthly project projection. Refer to the product specialist numbers of each category. Compliment on positive numbers always. Nothing is more effective in a positive way than saying you've done a great job. Give product specialists a copy of their performance guidelines and what needs improvement and what is unacceptable to continue. After identifying the category, review the specific coaching guideline sheet, which we will share with you shortly. In reviewing the guideline sheet, make sure the product specialist is engaged in the review and is acknowledging where he or she is off track. The manager and the product specialist are making notes on their copy of the coaching guideline sheet, which we will share shortly. A game plan is discussed and agreed to by both parties with performance goal established to be reviewed the following week. The following training guideline sheets are designed to identify and offer solutions to common situations that cost untold lost dollars to product specialists, managers, and dealers, suggesting copies to all.